just wanted to be clear. Are you pledging right now, totally committed to having this bill through the Senate and have this bill passed by the end of this current year?
Yes. And just let's be clear on exactly what we're talking about. I believe that our challenge is that first of all, we're going to do the exchange. That is something that is going to be required by federal law. I think that is for sure. The second part of this is to build on what is the board that's going to be put together to make the determination and the makeup of what the terms of the policies or how the system will in fact work. And I'm very confident. I've had meetings with my senators, and they're very confident that they can get this through their committee. So the answer to that question is the first part of the stool will be built this year.
Critics of this have been asking the question. You guys all refer to the fact that there have been questions, the same questions asked over and over, but I think it's important to ask it again. Where's the money going to come from, and how much are we talking about?
So I'll answer that question because I think that that's the wrong question to ask, quite frankly. And here's the reason why. We need to understand, first of all, what it is that we're going to provide for benefits and what we're going to provide throughout the system and how we're going to pay for it. The Healthcare Reform Bill, or Reform Board, is tasked with helping to design a benefit package, is tasked with trying to design a payment system that pays for wellness, not illness, and it is meant to put together a package that we will then cost out, and then I think it's appropriate to ask how we're going to pay for it. You know, you don't ask how you're going to pay for something before you know what it's going to cost. So I think that, you know, we've set ourselves in a direction, and we will work towards finding out what the cost of the system is going to be, and at that point in time, we'll come back to the legislature and ask how we're going to pay.
Just a quick follow-up, respectfully, how do you pledge to buy something when you don't know what it is?
Well, you know, all I know is that when I go and look to see what I'm going to buy, say a new car, or when I'm trying to, you know, if you were going to build a house, you actually try to design it, then cost it, and then you try to figure out how you're going to finance it.
If you don't know what it costs, how do you know it contains costs?
Well, let me just say also, go back to this, is the fact is that many businesses right now, if a business wants to take on a new leg of theirs, a new program that they're going to put into effect, they're going to first of all try to design that program, and then they're going to find out to see if it would work, and if they feel it would work, then they will go ahead and they're going to figure out what the financing of that will be, if they're going to be able, if it's going to be cost effective for them. So I just, it's hard for me to understand why they continue that one question as far as why don't we know or what the financing is, but because we are right now defining the product that we are going to put together. And without that knowledge, I think it would be, you know, we would not be doing our due diligence and our work without getting to the bottom of that first and then coming up with how we're going to fund it and what it's going to cost.
Mark would like to speak to you.
I'd also enter in a different direction. It would be one thing if we were proposing to create hospitals, doctors, healthcare providers all across the state, but we already have them. And the fact of the matter is that we already fund them. The problem isn't in creating it, the problem is in how we finance it and how we pay for it. So the money is already there, the system is already there. The problem is that it's fundamentally broken in terms of how we're paying for it today. And so the dollars are already being spent by Vermonters. The problem is that they're paying too much, that they're not getting the value for their dollars, and the way that we finance it is inequitable and unfair. So we need to take our time to make sure that we fix that system, we use that money better so that Vermonters get better value while we preserve the healthcare delivery system that, frankly, people like. They like the quality of care that they get. We have a system. The question is just how do we fund it better? And that's something that we have time to create a responsible plan for how to fix.
Is this a commitment to a publicly financed universal system, or is it a commitment to see if a publicly financed universal system is a sound idea?
I think that we've seen reports over 2 decades that demonstrate that we could create a more affordable healthcare system that increased quality of care We've had report after report after report that demonstrated the opportunity to reform our system and control costs and increase access. I think this is a commitment to moving towards the implementation of that system while also making sure that there's a responsible plan for checking out at every step that the assumptions continue to be true. We've had, frankly, one of the best analyses that you could ask for from Dr. Shao, from some of the smartest folks around. Not sure we can ask for a better analysis, but we need to continue to check that out as we go. But it is time to make a commitment to reform. I don't think we can ask Vermonters to continue to submit themselves to a healthcare system that can't control costs and can't provide universal coverage, when we have clear evidence that we can do better than that.
Some of the Republican lawmakers today asked for, some of the new councilmen asked for a promise that you would exclude from this program all the self-insured employers. And they said that includes about 106,000 lives. And I'm wondering what your reaction is to that request for such a promise.
That was a request that was made last night through an amendment. We had a lengthy debate about it. I think we're clear about the fact that the bill intends to be fully compliant with federal ERISA laws. The request that was made clearly raises legal issues. And as we move forward in developing, as the administration moves forward in developing a responsible finance plan, those questions clearly can be addressed.
Some businesses are saying they'll be double billed, essentially, that they'll be responsible for paying a payroll tax, and then on top of that, end up paying for insurance that they already have for their employees. And I've got a letter here from a businessman from Copeland Furniture who's upset about it. And I'm wondering, what you have to say to those employers who are basically saying, we can't plan for the near future because we don't know what the future holds for healthcare for us.
What we've heard from employers is that they have to assume cost growth of like 20% in their healthcare costs. Right now in our existing system, the assumption that there's predictability in our healthcare system, I think, is a fallacy. If we don't control costs, people are going to have ongoing uncertainty about healthcare. I think what we have heard very clearly from employers is that as we develop a financing system, that we need to make sure that we do it right, we need to make sure that people are involved, and we need to make sure that the process isn't rushed so that we jump to conclusions that aren't based on the best information that we have, and I think H2O2 addresses all of those concerns.
One more question. We got to get back to the floor.
What about a stabilization fund? Are you planning to create one for the cost of the system? Because I understand it could cost about $4 billion, and we'd need to set aside 5% for a stabilization fund to make sure our bond rating stays where it is now.
I would expect that that would be something that the Healthcare Reform Board would consider and would recommend as we move forward with the system. So I apologize. I have to return to the floor. We are now considering the House or the state budget, and so we have a long night in front of us. So thank you very much.